It has been exactly 1 week since I had originally planned to finish up the salve. I left off last time with the final setting for overnight because I like to allow hot infusions to just have an overnight setup. I think it produces a better final product in the end, and so I left off there. But the next morning I woke up to a boiling apartment, and there was absolutely no way I was going to try to finish this up in that kind of heat. As I'm sure many of you know and experienced, there was a horrible heat wave in the Pacific Northwest and just a significant part of this area and other areas, and it was awful. One of the big reasons I moved out west, out here, was because I'm not very fond of the heat, and so it was a little bit of a unfortunate thing to experience again. So instead of working on the salve that day, Hazel and I took a trip up to the cabin where I spent the winter and my grandmother is at the time now. And we spent most of the day just splashing around in the water, and in the evening I spent a lot of time just sitting and listening to my grandma tell her stories, and we sat down and made some rhubarb sauce from the rhubarb that's out back that actually has quite a lovely story to go along with it that I may tell another time. I'm working right now on a story about the cabin, and I had planned on doing it this winter, but then I was too cold, so this year has just been spent with really poor temperature management, I suppose. So hopefully I will be able to get that done this year. But when I came back home here, it was pretty awful. It got up into the mid-90s in my apartment, and it was well over 100 outside. But the houses and buildings here are built to retain heat and to get warmer because in the winters it's cold, and they don't tend to experience heat like that here. And so everything just becomes this boiler room. Nothing is made to manage this. The grocery stores, the areas with all the freezers and things were breaking, and all the produce was being thrown out, and all of these other things. It's just out here, it's not set up to manage heat. And I'm from a very warm place. It gets into the hundreds where I grew up, but it was scary here. It was different here. I was really worried for Hazel a couple of times. She was getting way too overheated, and I was having to rinse her off with water so that her body would kind of sweat almost, and keeping her hydrated, and it was just really scary. I don't think I've ever had a lot of fear around heat like that, because even without power when I was growing up in Virginia, you could manage. But being in a box in an apartment, there isn't really a basement to escape to. It isn't easy to go outside and find proper shade or wind because everything is concrete, and it was just scary. Thankfully, it's been cooling down these days, but I don't think that's the last time we're going to experience heat like that here. And I think a lot of things have to change in order for that to be okay. Hello there, you guys. So I just sat down and filmed this, and then my camera died, and so and the card got full halfway through, so I'm going to sit down and refilm it, but that's all good. Today has been a really good, productive day, and I'm just feeling a good, productive buzz, so I figured I would take the time to tackle a question that I get asked a lot and continue to get every day almost in DMs, emails, comments, just everywhere. People continuously ask how my health is and updates on that. I have only talked about it a few times here, and I am only going to continue talking about it a few times here and there. It is not really something that I like to focus on in my life. I do understand that people are very curious and that it is helpful to some to discuss it. So I will, and I will do that. Maybe again eventually when things change, if things change, or during weeks that are busy and important to discuss these types of things when I think so. Like in my last update, which was in September, when I was dealing with some bigger health issues, and it was kind of a whole thing to get it figured out, and I thought it was important to kind of shed a light on that situation, and I kind of feel similar about that now. So as I said, my last update was in September. If you don't really know what's going on or what I'm going to be talking about health-wise, I discussed kind of the whole baseline of everything there. I don't really want to do it again here. So I will link that up above and down below if you want to just get that general understanding of things. I will say it will probably be useful because if you don't know what's up, it might seem a little bit complicated pretty soon. So where to begin? I left off in September. I had gotten a new feeding tube. Things had been figured out. I'd kind of started catching up on doctor's appointments and visits and figuring things out, and I was doing it because I had kind of decided at that time that I wanted to move to Washington. And it was a lot easier to continue on with my doctors in Virginia and Maryland and the people that knew my case and get things back to a baseline before I left. And so I did. And then in October, when I moved out to Washington, things kind of started to get a lot better. One of the things that I've noticed with my health throughout the years is that when things are going good and easy in my life, it tends to be the same for my health. And when there are big stressors or things are challenging, my health tends to take a dive. And it makes sense, those things are very connected. But in leaving Virginia and coming out to Washington, leaving a place that I felt a little trapped in and wasn't as conducive to the way of life I wish to lead as it is here, things got a lot better. And very quickly, I was able to eat and sustain myself for the first time in quite a few years, pretty rapidly, within maybe a month or two of moving out here. And I was using my feeding tube on and off and kind of as supplemental nutrition for a while there. It was kind of surreal. But when I moved out here, my insurance really didn't follow. It did in case of emergencies, but in any other instance, they would not cover me. And that was the case until May. But October to May is a pretty significant amount of time, especially when you are managing a complex chronic illness. Unfortunately, in December, my feeding tube broke, and it is still broken. And I have been trying to get it fixed, and my goal was to get it fixed last week and the week before that and this week even, but insurance keeps struggling to get a handle on things, and so, you know, that is normal, but it's been a little frustrating in that sense, trying to finally get things figured out. But anyhow, my fingers are crossed that will get done this week. Luckily, given that I have been able to sustain myself for the most part, it isn't as much of a big deal now as it was in September when it broke. I am okay and can manage. It's more just a nuisance than anything else. Not having insurance from October to May was challenging. There were a lot of things that I really would have liked to have gotten done in that time. And as you may have noticed, most of the time I was not making videos here, and I was struggling to make videos on my other channel. And then come May and part of June, I spent a lot of time just catching up and going and seeing all of the doctors and specialists I needed to, and getting those details sorted out again, the things that I normally am able to keep up with every once in a while instead of just in this big wave of constant work that I had to then. But thankfully now it is evening out, and beyond a few odd things here and there, things that take a little longer to get in, and also, insurance difficulties, it's been better. Sorry, the card got full. Anyhow, things have been better. And recently, and I'm getting most everything that is not better figured out. And I don't really know how to talk about this. Can you tell? I tend to get a lot of very invasive questions. And I don't think that they ever come from a place that means harm. And I don't really think people tend to realize how invasive questions tend to be. I get asked for very odd specifics on my health and things that you wouldn't just ask somebody walking down the street. One of the reasons I kept these things to myself for so long was because I didn't want that. And I also didn't want to be seen as just some sick person, because I'm not. I am so much more than that, and my life is very full now in ways that I couldn't have even imagined years ago. But I can't deny that it's a part of my reality, that it's a part of my life. And in some ways I'm thankful for it, because it gifted me perspectives on living that I wouldn't have otherwise had. And it is the reason I live my life the way that I do. It is the reason I have taken the risks that I have, and it is what gave my life purpose and meaning, not because I was sick, but because I saw all that I wished I could do and dreamed about doing. And once I finally was able to, I decided I'm not going to waste a moment, and I'm going to live my life the way that I want to, because I don't have the benefit of good health. And I think I'm pretty fortunate of that. I have decided what's important to me, and I pursue that and have achieved that. And I think that's what's more important to me when it comes to health updates, not the weird nitpicky details of things. My health is what gifted me my drive in life. It's what motivated me to do all that I have. And now that it's so much better than it has ever been, I have been able to do everything that I have dreamed of and more. And I'm going to continue to do that in all the time that I can. And hopefully things will just continue to get better. I have my hopes there. But I'm also not going to bet on that. And I'm just going to continue living the way that makes me feel happy and fulfilled. I don't know. Okay. I don't really know how to close this out. I know I don't. But I think that it's been kind of weighing on me talking about this stuff. I get the questions all the time, and I kind of want to make this in a way to hopefully get those to stop a little bit, and also so that I can move forward and make content in ways that I don't feel like I'm going to be questioned. I've been able to cook and eat, and I share most of the food that I make, but some of it I can make for myself now. And I want to be able to enjoy that and not feel like I can't because people are going to be watching every move of mine, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this so that I can move forward. And now that I have, I am looking forward to what's to come. So now I am gonna go edit this vlog and hopefully get it up to you today, and finish up with some other work. So I'll see you.